Deborra-Lee.
Hi, wow.
Nice to meet you.
You're something.
Huh? You think I'm going to share that with you all?
Love is not enough. It's not always enough.
Deborra-Lee Furness has finally broken her silence about Hugh Jackman's wedding drama, and the mood is heavy. For 27 years, she stood beside one of Hollywood's most adored leading men, long before the global fame exploded. She was there before Wolverine claws, before Oscars buzz, before the Broadway spotlights and the gigantic paychecks rolled in. She knew Hugh Jackman when nobody else did. A 25-year-old drama school graduate, shaky on his feet, stepping onto his very first professional set with nerves written all over him. Deborra was already established, already respected, already shining. He was just getting started, and she still chose him, even when whispers circled saying she was making a mistake. Nearly 3 decades later, their divorce was finalized on a quiet Monday in June 2025. Only months after that, the same man who had spent years telling the world Deborra was the love of his life was suddenly rumored to be planning a wedding with someone else. When people close to Deborra were asked how it felt seeing Hugh step out publicly with Sutton Foster, the response was icy and sharp. 5 simple words landed with serious weight. A real kick in the teeth. Those words were not loud, but they hit hard. To really understand why they cut so deep, you have to rewind to 1995, to a TV set in Melbourne, to the exact second a successful woman locked eyes with a young man who had not yet built a name. Deborra was never just some unknown actress who got lucky marrying a future movie star. That story is flat out wrong. Long before Hugh Jackman became a household name, she had already built a powerful career. She won Best Actress from the Australian Film Critics Circle for her role in the 1988 film Shame. She trained professionally at the American Academy of Dramatic Arts in New York. She worked on Falcon Crest in the United States, then returned home to Australia and earned a reputation as one of the country's most respected performers. By the time she landed the lead role in the 1995 TV series Corelli, Deborra-Lee Furness was already a recognized name with real credibility. That detail matters more than people realize, because what happened on that television set changed the next 30 years of both their lives. Hugh Jackman was completely new to the industry. Corelli was his first professional acting job after finishing drama school. He played a prisoner. She played the psychologist assigned to help him. And according to Jackman's own retelling, the spark was instant and impossible to ignore. He later described the exact moment she removed her sunglasses and introduced herself. He remembered thinking, "I like this girl." But Deborra was not instantly convinced. She was 13 years older, already established, already experienced in how harsh public judgment could be. He was fresh out of school with everything still to prove. The age gap weighed on her mind, not out of insecurity, but because she understood how society treats women who date younger men. She already knew the comments would come, and they did. For years. In fact, Deborra tried to end things early in the relationship. She told him the age difference was too wide, that the pressure would be intense, that public opinion would never quiet down. Hugh, young and determined, refused to walk away. With nothing but ambition and strong feelings, he convinced her to stay. He told her he did not care what critics thought. He told her she was the one. Just 4 months into dating, he proposed. They married on April 11, 1996, at St. John's Church in Melbourne. She was 40, he was 27. From that moment on, Deborra walked red carpets knowing cameras would zoom in and tabloids would compare her appearance to his. She aged naturally in front of the world while standing beside a man repeatedly labeled sexiest man alive. That kind of spotlight is brutal. She saw the headlines. She read the comments. Many women over 50 understand that quiet sting, being compared to younger versions of themselves or judged next to unrealistic beauty standards. Deborra lived that reality in front of millions, year after year. Through it all, Hugh constantly praised her in interviews and public appearances. Every stage, every red carpet, every microphone. He made sure to say she was the best thing that ever happened to him. On their 25th anniversary in 2021, he shared wedding photos and wrote, "From nearly the moment we met, I knew our destiny was to be together." He added, "In our 25 years, our love has only grown deeper. The fun, excitement, and adventure more exhilarating. The learning even greater." He even described being married to her as natural as breathing. When a partner says words like that publicly for decades, you believe them. Not out of innocence, but because those promises are repeated consistently, confidently, and in front of the entire world. You build your future around statements like that. You make life decisions trusting they are real. You relocate, adjust careers, raise children, and grow older beside someone believing the foundation is solid. And then one day, everything shifts. After their wedding, Deborah and Hugh tried to start a family. They went through IVF treatments, an emotional and physical roller coaster many people quietly endure. The process can be exhausting. Constant medical appointments, powerful medications, waiting cycles filled with nervous hope, and emotional highs that can crash without warning. They experienced multiple pregnancy losses, each one carrying deep personal grief. Hugh later spoke publicly about those painful moments. Deborah chose privacy. She carried the sorrow quietly, showing strength in public while processing heartbreak in personal spaces. Many women of her generation understand that kind of silent resilience, staying composed outside while handling emotional weight away from the spotlight. When biological options did not work out, they chose adoption and welcomed their son Oscar into their lives, expanding their family with love and intention. Oscar was born in 2000, and their daughter Ava followed in 2005. Hugh once said that when Oscar entered their lives, years of heartbreak suddenly felt lighter, like a heavy cloud finally lifting. Deborra-Lee did not just step into motherhood, she stepped into purpose. She became a fierce advocate for adoption reform across Australia, pushing for legal changes and fighting the unfair stigma placed on adoptive families. She was not simply raising children, she was standing up for every parent who builds a family through love rather than biology. For nearly 20 years, their marriage looked like rare proof that lasting love could survive Hollywood pressure. Red carpets, hand-in-hand moments, warm interviews, it all painted a picture of something steady and genuine. Hugh often praised Deborah for keeping him grounded while fame swirled around him. She was never just the wife in the background. She was the strong foundation that helped hold everything together. But quietly, something began to shift, and the warning signs were there long before people wanted to admit it. In February 2022, Hugh began rehearsals for the Broadway revival of The Music Man alongside Sutton Foster. The production ran almost a full year before closing in January 2023. During that stretch, insiders later described the connection between Hugh and Sutton as Broadway's worst-kept secret. Cast members reportedly noticed long hugs backstage that felt more personal than professional. Sutton even shared in interviews that one of her favorite parts of the show was a nightly pre-show ritual where she and Hugh would talk and catch up on our day. Whether the relationship crossed physical lines or stayed in the gray space between friendship and emotional closeness, Deborah felt the distance growing. People close to her later said she believed an emotional bond had formed, even if nothing physical happened during the marriage. For someone who had trusted her partner for 27 years, that emotional shift alone could feel deeply painful. The line between emotional and physical betrayal can blur when trust is broken. What hurts most is feeling someone slowly turn away. In April 2023, Hugh shared a public anniversary tribute to Deborah filled with loving words. A month later, they attended the Met Gala together, smiling brightly for cameras like they had done for decades. Everything looked familiar and polished. Then, just 4 months later, on September 15, 2023, they released a joint statement announcing their separation. It read, "We have been blessed to share almost 3 decades together as husband and wife in a wonderful, loving marriage. Our journey now is shifting, and we have decided to separate to pursue our individual growth." Individual growth. That was the phrase chosen to close a 27-year partnership, a life built through shared struggles, parenting, and constant public attention. To many, those words sounded distant and overly careful, like language polished to avoid emotion. Anyone who has faced a deeply personal breakup knows how formal explanations can feel strangely empty compared to the weight of real feelings behind them. For nearly 2 years after the announcement, Deborah remained mostly silent. She focused on her children and kept her personal life private. In May 2024, she appeared at a screening of her film Force of Nature, The Dry 2. When People magazine asked what the past year had taught her, her response was short but powerful: that I'm strong and resilient. That answer carried quiet strength. It sounded less like celebration and more like someone who had endured a difficult chapter and kept going. Meanwhile, Hugh's connection with Sutton Foster gradually became public. In October 2024, Sutton filed for divorce from her husband, screenwriter Ted Griffin, after 10 years of marriage. By January 2025, Hugh and Sutton were photographed holding hands in Los Angeles. The relationship was no longer speculation. What once lived backstage was now visible in everyday life. Sutton Foster is 49, while Deborra-Lee is 70. Age gaps in relationships can bring complicated emotions, especially when long-term partnerships end and new ones begin. For many people, it is not about jealousy, but about adjusting to unexpected change after decades of shared history. The difficult part can be realizing that life is moving in a different direction than the one you carefully built for years. On May 23, 2025, Deborra filed for divorce independently rather than submitting a joint filing. 4 days later, she released a public statement that carried far more emotion than the earlier separation announcement. She wrote, "My heart and compassion goes out to everyone who has traversed the traumatic journey of betrayal. It's a profound wound that cuts deep." Her wording was deliberate and heartfelt. Rather than using softer language, she chose a term that clearly expressed the pain she experienced. Financial details soon revealed how complex the separation was. The divorce was finalized in early June 2025, with reports estimating their shared assets at roughly $387 million. Properties reportedly included homes in Manhattan, the Hamptons, Australia, and England. Shortly before filing, Deborra paid $11.7 million to secure full ownership of their Manhattan penthouse, ensuring she had a permanent place to call her own. Then, not long after the divorce was finalized, new wedding rumors began circulating. Reports claimed Hugh proposed to Sutton during a New Year's vacation in Costa Rica at the end of 2025. Sources suggested he was excited and shared the news with friends, even as legal matters from previous relationships were still being completed. By early 2026, entertainment outlets reported plans for a small private ceremony in New York, with a close group of friends and well-known figures expected to attend. One reported detail drew particular attention. Despite lessons learned from a long previous marriage, Hugh reportedly did not plan to pursue a prenuptial agreement. For many observers, that choice stood out. After nearly 3 decades of building a shared life and navigating a complex separation, starting over without formal financial protections felt like a surprising decision. Maybe the lesson Hugh took from his first marriage was not about protecting money at all. Maybe he believed he never had to worry, because the woman he married would always protect the family first, even during moments when he could not. When people close to Deborra-Lee were asked how she felt watching Hugh openly celebrate his new relationship, the response was sharp and painfully direct. Seeing them gallivanting around was a real kick in the teeth. Not rage, not dramatic outbursts, just a phrase that sounds quiet but lands heavy. It is the kind of expression people use when pain hits unexpectedly, right where it still hurts most. Just when you think you have made peace with everything, something reopens the wound. And now, another twist. Multiple media outlets report that Deborra-Lee Furness is preparing a deeply personal memoir about her marriage and divorce. Publishing insiders say several companies are competing for the rights, creating serious buzz around the project. Hugh was reportedly warned this could happen, since high-profile breakups often lead to book offers. He hoped she would decline. She did not. Sources claim Deborra has been keeping what insiders call a divorce diary, carefully documenting her experience and preparing to share her perspective in her own voice. Hugh and Sutton are reportedly uneasy about the project. One unnamed source even described the book as being motivated by spite. That word raises eyebrows. Spite suggests bitterness, but Deborra stayed publicly silent for nearly 2 years while headlines focused on her former partner's new relationship. This is someone who raised 2 children in a global spotlight, endured deeply personal struggles, relocated for her partner's career, and stood firm through intense public scrutiny about their age difference. After decades of loyalty, the marriage ended with carefully polished public language while life quietly moved on behind the scenes. If Deborra writes that memoir, it may not be about revenge at all. It may simply be about being heard. After spending 27 years building a shared life, having the chance to tell her own story could feel deeply important. Everyone deserves space to reflect on defining chapters of their life, especially ones lived so publicly. Here is what stands out most. In 1996, Deborra-Lee Furness was already an accomplished 40-year-old actress with an established reputation. She chose to marry a 27-year-old performer whose biggest achievements were still ahead of him. Over the next 3 decades, she watched him grow into one of the most recognized film stars in the world. Fame can create pressure in any relationship, but she remained supportive and steady. She did not compete for attention. She did not try to overshadow his spotlight. She focused on family and stability while his career expanded globally. She once shared that people predicted the marriage would fail because of their age difference. Critics claimed that once success arrived, the relationship would not survive public pressure. For 27 years, those predictions appeared wrong. Then, in June 2025, the marriage formally ended, and those early doubts resurfaced in public conversation. Today, Deborra lives in the Manhattan penthouse she purchased independently, surrounded by a quieter life as her children step into adulthood. Public attention has softened, but personal reflection often grows louder in private spaces. Many women later in life understand that feeling, recognizing that you can give your best years, your loyalty, your patience, and your strength to a partnership, yet still face an unexpected ending. Sometimes relationships change direction, not because of failures, but because personal paths no longer align. That realization can be deeply painful, especially after decades of shared history. Deborra did not just lose a marriage. She faced the emotional weight of seeing a long chapter close in a way she may not have imagined. After nearly 30 years of standing beside someone through life's highs and lows, adjusting to a different future can feel overwhelming. And for many observers, her earlier words still echo with quiet force. Sometimes emotional blows do not need dramatic language to be understood. A kick in the teeth says enough all on its own. The story does not end with headlines or court papers. It ends in the quiet moments people never see. It ends when the cameras leave, when the events stop, when a person finally sits alone with memories that used to feel warm but now feel heavy. For Deborra-Lee Furness, this chapter is not just about divorce or public statements. It is about the emotional shock of watching a life she helped build slowly shift into something unfamiliar. Nearly 3 decades of shared routines, private jokes, family milestones, and whispered promises do not just fade away cleanly. They linger in the background like echoes you cannot fully silence. There is something deeply unsettling about realizing that history can be rewritten while you are still trying to make sense of it. One day, you are part of a partnership people admire, and the next you are adjusting to a new identity you never planned for. That kind of change hits differently when it happens later in life. It is not about drama or spectacle. It is about emotional gravity. It is about looking back at years of loyalty and realizing that devotion alone cannot freeze time or guarantee forever. That truth can feel brutally unfair, even when handled with grace. But here is what makes this moment powerful instead of tragic. Deborra is not disappearing quietly into the background. She is choosing dignity. She is choosing reflection. She is choosing to protect her peace instead of performing for public approval. Strength does not always look loud or glamorous. Sometimes strength is simply waking up, facing the day, and refusing to let heartbreak define your entire identity. That quiet resilience speaks louder than any dramatic interview ever could. Life after a long marriage can feel like stepping into unfamiliar territory without a map. The routines change. The future looks different. Even simple things, holidays, celebrations, shared spaces, carry new emotional weight. But rebuilding does not mean erasing the past. It means accepting that chapters can close while the story keeps moving forward. Growth is not always exciting or inspirational. Sometimes it is slow, uncomfortable, and deeply personal. And that is perfectly human. For many people watching from a distance, this story feels relatable in ways that go far beyond celebrity culture. It touches on universal fears about love, aging, loyalty, and starting over. It highlights the quiet question many carry but rarely say out loud. If I give my best years to something, will it last? There is no guaranteed answer, and that uncertainty can be scary. But it also reminds us that personal worth is never measured by whether someone stays. Value comes from character, compassion, and the strength to keep going when life changes direction. Deborra's journey shows that reinvention is possible at any stage of life. New purpose can grow from painful endings. Fresh stability can rise from emotional chaos. And sometimes, walking away with self-respect matters more than holding on to something that no longer fits. Peace is not found in pretending everything worked out perfectly. Peace comes from accepting reality and choosing to move forward with confidence and clarity. In the end, this is not just a story about separation. It is a story about endurance, self-worth, and quiet transformation. About a woman who stood strong through fame, family challenges, public scrutiny, and personal heartbreak, and is still standing. Not every ending needs fireworks. Some endings are powerful precisely because they are honest, grounded, and real. And sometimes that kind of strength says more than any spotlight ever could.